Hi everyone, this is Random Thoughts with Alex. In this video, I will tell you my thoughts about the question, is Oumuamua an alien technological object? Oumuamua is the first interstellar object that was observed in the solar system, and it flew through the solar system in 2017. Now, nobody can tell for sure, of course, if it's an alien technology or not, but one can speculate. And unless we try to send a probe to catch up with it, we will probably never know what it is. In my opinion, it's a very real possibility that Oumuamua is indeed a technological object. And in this I agree with Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist, and with some YouTubers like, for instance, the Angry Astronaut. So why do I think that? First of all, I am not at all convinced by any of the conventional explanations that people have come up with to explain Oumuamua. I think we're at a point where an alien technological object is the simplest, most plausible explanation. There are simply too many coincidences that we have to accept with a natural explanation. First of all, the object was so perfectly at rest with the local standard of rest of the Milky Way that it has about one chance in 500 to be there by coincidence. That's the first coincidence. Second, it approached to 0.16 astronomical units from the Earth. That means it came as close as 0.16 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun, or about 24 million kilometers or 15 million miles away from the Earth. Now, if we assume that we would typically be able to observe any object that comes closer to the Sun than, say, Mars's object, then there is about a 1 in 100 probability that it would come as close as to the Earth as Oumuamua did, at least by chance. So when we combine that, a 1 in 500 probability and a 1 in 100 probability happening simultaneously, that is a 1 in 50,000 probability. And I think the probability of a coincidence that is that low is giving us a good reason to assume that maybe it's not a coincidence. I think it's okay to assume that. And that would mean alien technology. Now, a lot of people will say that aliens are even less likely than 1 in 50,000, and in a sense, they are right. But I think people who think that way are wrong in the assumptions that they are making. So I think people thinking of alien technology as a spaceship run by a biological alien being, that for sure is extremely unlikely, but I don't believe that we should assume that. My argument is that an object built and navigated by a machine intelligence is far more likely than a biological intelligence. And in fact, I wrote an article about that, and that was published in 2020 in the International Journal of Astrobiology. In this article, I argue that machine intelligences would proliferate much faster and much further than biological intelligences. And when a machine intelligence can make copies of itself, there's virtually no limit to the number of spaceships that it could produce. This is known as a von Neumann machine or a von Neumann probe. They could be ubiquitous in the universe. So in my article, I argue that there is about a 1 in 2 probability that there are von Neumann probes touring around in the Milky Way, and over 99% probability that there are von Neumann probes somewhere in the observable universe. So, if they're that likely to occur in the universe, why not in our proverbial backyard? Even if I'm completely wrong in my assumptions about the likelihoods of von Neumann probes, I still think that the probability is far greater than 1 in 50,000. And that's why I think that the technological origin of Oumuamua is actually very plausible. But finding live aliens in our solar system, that I absolutely don't believe in. And for that reason, I believe that the infamous UAP whistleblower, David Grush, is talking absolute nonsense in his testimonials when he talks about biologics. I don't believe that at all. For sure, the universe is a very interesting place, but not that interesting. That's it. I hope you liked this video. If you do, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.